welcome to your Restore and Recover Day 7 finale. And this was the targeted stretch routine for our feet and our calves and our ankles, and to really open up some space in those feet and also relieve some tension in our ankle complex. We are most of the time standing in our lives, so this is a good routine to have to restore and replenish and nourish our feet. If you'd like to grab a bolster for today's class, feel free to grab it. But again, you can also use some pillows instead of the bolster. But without further ado, we're gonna get right into the first position. And for the first position, you can feel free to come without the bolster, optional with the bolster, but I'm gonna show first without the bolster. So we're gonna go ahead and place our toes onto the floor. So making sure all 10 toes are connected to the earth from here, having a nice tall kneeling stance, and on your next exhalation, slowly bringing your buttocks to meet the heels here. And from here, you can have your hands by your hips here, or if you like to place your hands gently just on your thighs here and close the eyes if that feels comfortable, feel free to just stay here. Now for my friends who do have knee sensitivity, we can take the bolster or some pillows, and we can go ahead and elevate your seating position. So you're still in the same position for the feet, but you're not as deep into your hips, which enables your knees to come away from the tension of the knees. But again, if you do still find some tension in between your knees, you can feel free to fold your mat today to make a more cushion, or you can slide more pillows so that you have more cushioning underneath your knees as well, in addition to your hips and your buttocks. But again, for those of us who do not like the seating position, you can also feel free to do this in a standing position, where we're gonna go ahead and coming into this number, so you can still go ahead and partake in the ankle and foot toe release, but just in this bent over position by just grabbing a hold of your toes with the hands, one hand or double hand here, and still getting that nice stretch deeply into the arch of the foot and also in the ankle complex with the calves. And wherever you are, feel free to come back into our positioning that feels right for your body today. I'm going to come back into our kneeling position here. Again, really imagining all of the 10 toes really grabbing a hold of the earth beneath us, and really feeling that lengthening in the feet, specifically into your arches. It should feel like a gentle but deep enhancement all the way from the tops of the toes through the arch and through the heel. So it should feel really nice. We tend to not do these kinds of stretches on a daily routine, so it is so nice to, even for just a moment, come into a stretch that deeply nourishes your toes and your arch of the foot, and potentially relieve any kind of tension that you may have had before finding this stretch routine, and releasing, and with every breath getting deeper and deeper. And today is the final series video for this series, and if y'all just stumbled across this video, welcome. This was part of a series, and so if you did miss any of the previous videos, make sure to check them out, as this will be all in a playlist on my channel. And we'll stay here for a couple more moments before coming out of it. If you did do the variation where you're just on that one side of the leg, you can feel free to now switch sides. So go ahead and switch, especially if you were in that bent over position, in the half standing position. And with more time passing through, y'all should already start to feel a more deep, more enriched form of this stretch. Should feel more intense into the arch and into the 10 toes. Really visualizing those fingers, those 10 toes, opening even further. See if we can bring more space in between our toes today to really release some tension and really going back to its roots of mobility and bringing more mobile into our feet, mobile movements. A lot of the time, especially if you do wear some shoes that are constricting or toes are wanting to come without a lot of space, so this is your opportunity to get a little bit more space and opening through the toes, especially with the strain that we cause in our everyday lifestyles for our feet. And we'll stay here for one more full cycle of breath before coming out of this pose. Nice, deep, complete inhalation and beautiful exhalation here out of your mouth. And on your next inhalation, if you did have your bolster underneath your hips or in front of you, you can feel free to shift it away now. And we're gonna go ahead and slowly bring the tops of your toes. It's gonna feel quite intense because we're just coming out of it, but the tops of the toes now on the floor. So now we are going to do a little bit of a counter stretch for those toes since they were in that pressed down position. Now we're gonna go ahead and bring the toes on the floor. So for my friends who are just on the floor today and feel comfortable with being on the knees, feel free to just come into a slight bent back position. You can place your fingertips down or your full palms, whatever can reach all the way to the floor. Again, if you'd like to grab a bolster or a pillow surface and just guide your hands or even your elbows down, you can feel free to do that. But I'm going to show again back into without the bolster, but from here you can go ahead and lift the knees off the floor. So we're just gently elevating your knees off the floor here, and already you should slowly start to feel a nice beautiful stretch in the front of the ankle complex, our feet, and it should be really nice and enhanced in the front lines now. And you can also do this again just in a relaxed state here. You can even close the eyes here, and again keeping the knees gently elevated here and finding a beautiful position to hold in our settling position. Now for my friends who experience some sensations that are not comfortable, feel free to come onto a sideline. So we're still going to be doing that similar stretch, or same stretch I should say, but just without our knees on the floor. So we can come onto either side is fine. We're going to do both sides anyway. So you can come onto our sideline position and taking the top of the leg here and bending, and again holding onto our toes here. So making sure your toes are really cradling with the hand here. And again, we're gonna stretch as comfortably as it's possible and bringing actively your toes and your hand that is supporting here back behind your midline here. So already you should slowly start to feel that beautiful stretch in that same line that we were just doing on the kneeling position, but now it is less intense directly into the knees, and we're putting more emphasis and targeting just in that front line here without involving the knees here. And again, you can place your knee down next to the other once you find a good stretch and release here, and just simply hold here. You just can find a beautiful line of stretch right here. Again, no need to actively and forcefully press your fingertips or your toes down, but gently with time, you're gonna feel more of a depth and nourishment into the front of the ankles here. So wherever you may be, feel free to find your settle position and just holding it right here. Nice deep inhaling through the nose and deep exhalation out through the mouth here. If you do find yourself carrying any tension in the facial features or the head and the neck, Really breathing through those potential areas of tension, creating more softness into those areas, and shifting the emphasis away from our upper body, but really focusing on the lower half and giving more attention, care, and love into our ankles, our feet, and our toes that desperately need our attention, which we ignore on a day-to-day basis. It is their time to allow your body to fully recover, even in areas that we tend not to think about in an everyday lifestyle, and really nourishing the body for what it needs, starting with our foundation of our body, which is our feet and our ankles. And if you did do this variation with the one side, feel free to switch sides now. Slowly, slowly, and gently switching to the other side. And again, if you're still in that original form, staying and holding and breathing. Beautiful. And although this pose and stretch can be quite nourishing for our ankle complex, you might find a gentle opening through the hips as well. Again, we did do more of a hip opening in the beginning of this series, but a little gentle opening through the hips as well, in addition to our ankles, which are deeply related. We use a lot of our big muscle groups, our quads and our hips, to support ourselves in exercise, in running, in dancing, and all the things that we love to do, and really nourishing those areas that feel tense, but also feel relieving in these poses with the breath. Every breath, the body relaxes, and really feeling that gentle warmth and almost like a deep, nourishing massage of the breath into those areas that feel tense. And we'll take one more full cycle of breath here. Last opportunity to get deeper into this position and stretch. And on your next inhalation, slowly releasing that foot. If you were on that one side, or if you were in the double knee version, feel free to gently come back into that neutral position, back into our kneeling, placing your knees back down onto the floor. And this is where we'll gently transition, and we'll go ahead and come into our forward fold today. So for our forward fold, again, option to use a bolster today. If you are using that bolster or some pillows to stack, bringing your bolster and or pillow on top of your knees and your legs, and adjusting your stance. So bringing your fingertips down and lifting yourself up so that your hips are in line with your spine, so that as you come down, you are still in line in that neutral position for the spine. And from here, whenever you feel ready, inhaling at the top to bring your fingertips up, lengthen through the top and the crown of the head. Exhaling to forward fold, again grabbing a hold of your pillow stack or your bolster or your toes, wherever you can reach here. And again, even if you do not have the bolster today, we will still be right here, same positioning, either on your toes, you can grab your ankles here, or you can even perhaps grab underneath your quads here and your hamstrings and just gently, gently bringing your chest forward. Again, not forcing anything, but just as much as it is comfortable to come into a gentle release for the spine, for the feet, and allowing our feet to really open, really push those heels away from the midline, and to allow those toes to really sink up and towards you, so you really get that beautiful stretch from the arch of the foot all the way through the hamstrings and the calves. Should feel that whole back line gently, gently with time opening and releasing. And for my friends who have very, very tight hamstrings and calf muscles, you might find that the straight knees is quite uncomfortable, and you can feel free to keep the knees slightly bent here so you can lift up a little bit. And especially if you have tight posterior chain muscles, you might find yourself more in this position, which is quite all right. If you do need some support, again, you can place the bolster or a pillow stack underneath your knees, and feel free to grab a hold of your toes this way and trying to bring, again, actively pressing your heels away from the midline and really pushing your feet away, so that way you can really feel that same nourishment that we are doing without bending the knees like this, but coming into a beautiful line and stretch that you do feel also the hamstrings in addition to the feet and the calves releasing. Beautiful work, everyone. And feel free to keep the eyes closed here. Really gently relaxing the spine, relaxing the upper body, the head and the neck, and allowing your body to just melt into this position. It is our last seated position for today. So really nourishing the spine, the back posterior muscles, and the feet with every breath. See if you can deepen, lengthen, and restore those muscle groups that we are focusing on here. And we'll take last few more moments in this pose. Last opportunity to get deeper into our forward fold today. And slowly rising up away from your feet, placing your bolster or pillow stock to the side if you did have it here, and gently setting up for our last and final pose is legs up the wall. Now, before I show the legs up the wall, I did want to note, if for some reason your back or your legs do not want to find a wall space and you just want to find it on the floor today, less intense, you can. So for this variation, we're gonna just be on the floor, very similar to Shavasana, or it is Shavasana, I should say. But again, you can take your bolster or pillow stock here if you are using it and place it gently behind your knees. From here, we're slowly reclining down, facing up towards the sky, gently opening the feet in that hip distance, and really allow your feet to fall outwards with the palms facing up towards the sky. And from here, just relaxing, restoring, and staying in this variation of what we're about to do, legs up the wall, if this feels nice. And again, for my friends who still want to partake in the lifting of the legs, if this is a little too simplistic for your practice, we can go ahead and do the variation where either keeping your bolster by your hips, you can even elevate your hips here if you prefer. And from here, lifting the legs up. You can feel free to keep your knees slightly bent if the extension version is a little bit too much for today for the muscles, and just relaxing here. You can even just hold your knees here or the back of your thighs, your hamstrings, and gently guide it towards your midline here, and just gently hold in this position. Even without the bolster, it's going to look very similar. You can just hang out here, holding onto the backs of the knees, or again, just partaking in legs up the wall. And for legs up the wall, finding a clear space on a wall surface. If you're using the bolster, even without, you're still going to do the same exact thing. You're going to go ahead and place that bolster or your hips directly onto the wall. Make sure there's minimal gaping between the wall and your hips so that you're able to come all the way onto our wall surface here. Gently guiding yourself so that you find your hips all the way to the wall here. And now from here, when you find a good positioning, we're just gonna place your feet against the wall, and you'll find that this pose is very effortless. You're not using any of your body, your tension, your body muscles are not included. They're just gently resting against the wall. And again, wherever you may be today, feel free to keep the eyes closed and really nourish your body in this last and final pose of today and this series. In this pose, we are restoring the feet, the blood flow of the feet and the body. Most of our lives, we are in a standing position where the blood flows to the feet. And now gently, we are bringing that blood flow back into our heart, and we're resetting into our feet and bringing more attention into our heart now, saying thank you to our feet for all of its hard work that it carries us through our daily lives. Sometimes it's essential to reset the body, the mind, not only as a physical matter, but also for mental clarity. And by doing this pose today, you may find that your mental posture also shifts, not only just in the physical, but also in our minds. as we get deeper and deeper in this pose, see if we can deepen the breath work, really feeling the breath traveling to the heart and the lungs with every inhalation, feeling the chest rising, and on every exhalation, feeling that warmth and the depth of the breath exiting out through the tummy area, the abdomen. With every inhalation, only breathing positive energy and thoughts to enter the body, and any tension, negativity, and negative thoughts leaving on every exhalation out of the body. And we'll stay here for last full cycle of breath. Last chance to reset and renew and restore the feet in this practice today. And on your next inhalation, so if you did have your feet on the wall, slowly walking back so you're bending into the knees, shifting your hips off of the wall, off of the bolster. And if you do need to stay in a moment and let your feet reset in a side lying position, feel free to just stay here for however much you need before slowly rising up. And even if you're on the floor here today, just coming onto that one side, gently rising up whenever you feel ready. If it feels comfortable, keeping the eyes closed, coming back into your seated position today. Taking a moment to thank your body for showing up today. I hope that this series was a deepening and nourishing series for resetting the body. A lot of our lives includes fast-paced environments, and I hope that this series enabled you to take a deep breath, to find some time for yourself, because you deserve it. Thank you so much for joining this stretch. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day, and until the next one, have a great day, y'all.